Hey, what's up guys, welcome back to Copper Top Productions. In this week's video we're going to be jumping in and working on the 32, basically picking up where we left off last week. Through the week I was able to extract those two little broken bolts, or broken studs, in the back of that new turbo housing, so we're going to be able to chuck that in this week and hopefully make some stood real soon. Let's jump into it. Alrighty, so broken bolts. How did we get them out and how did we get to where we are now? So here is the broken bolts. I should be able to show you that pretty clearly on camera. Yeah, that's all broken stud, bolt, whatever. Yeah, you can see through it. So yeah, basically what I did to get them out was I went out when I had more time to actually dedicate to the turbo and bought the most expensive drill bits I essentially could, which were cobalt. God damn it. Cobalt drill bits. So I picked them up, also got some aerosol cutting lube, and then came home and set out to fix the turbo. Chucked it into a vise, got the drill bits out, and immediately the difference between shitty drill bits and incredible drill bits just blew me away. So yeah, turbo is a go to go on the car. Alrighty, well let's chuck the parts we need on it to put on the car, and then we might as well just jump straight into it and start putting it on the car. She's good to go. And just like that, turbo's on. You. Alrighty, so what's next? We've got to... all we've got to do is chuck the plumbing stuff back on and the O2 sensor, and that's it. I'm going to put you up there on that big pile of mess so I can film this even bigger pile of mess. So everything is absolutely back together, turbo's back in, all the lines are ran, all the pipes on top are all done up, all the clamp hoses are all tightened up, all the electronics are plugged in, and we did give the turbo a bit of squirt oil before we chucked it in there just to prime it up a little bit so it has a bit of oil before it turns over. But just as an extra sort of precaution, make sure we fill that oil line. We're going to disconnect the fuel pump and disconnect the ignition and run it over basically to make sure that the lines have oil in it and make sure that the turbo is basically double check that the turbo has oil in it, so that we run no chance of blowing it whatsoever. Alrighty. One last check over. Plugged in, screwed in, tight. Alrighty. We're a go for start. Alrighty, so there's a fair bit of smoke coming from around the turbo. Now, my issue with it is that there's nothing bad coming out of the exhaust. It just seems to be coming off the housing of the turbo. So is it just built up grease and grime that was already on there that needs to burn off and then dawn? Or is there something else going on? So I don't know if I just need to let it like burn off, or if there's an issue. Alright, well she sounds a hell of a lot better than it did before. There's still a little bit of smoke coming from there. I honestly just think that's stuff burning off of the turbo, a bit of oil from the outside or some crap like that. One thing's for sure, it definitely didn't rev up like that with the blown turbo, so I think we're okay for now. It's kind of hard to tell. I really got to get it on the ground and drive it to see, but yeah, I don't know, hey. I'm going to wait for it to cool back down a bit and take that housing back off the back of the turbo and inspect the back of the turbo housing, because on the blown turbo, which is conveniently right here on the back of that, it was like heaps and heaps of junk. So if the turbo is a little bit blown rather than a big bit blown like the last one, because it was obvious that was blown because of the amount of smoke it was pushing out the back, if it's a little bit blown, then I'll be able to tell as soon as taking that housing off and rubbing my finger on the bottom of that, seeing if there's any oil there. Alrighty, so we got her off, and well, pretty much all good. So we're gonna chuck it back together, start it up, let it warm up again, see if anything else burns off of the turbo. Yeah, I don't know, hey, there's not much else left to do. Yep, it's back together, and now I'm just gonna start it, let it run, and see if that smoke eventually goes away, or if something eventually breaks. Yep. Unfortunately, I have no idea what to do now. I've replaced the turbo. The turbo itself seems to be fine. It's not blowing out smoke, which is fantastic. It sounds pretty healthy, looks pretty good. The only issue I really have is once I start the car and warm it up to idle, it seems to be incredibly hot, like a lot hotter than it should be. Giving these hoses a squeeze when it's at ideal idle temperature is just ridiculous. How hot they are. But for the meantime, I don't know what I'm going to do. I might try and do a bit more research into the cooling of the turbo, see if there's a better way I can run the lines or something like that. Well, one issue at a time. Turbo's good. The car is now in running condition again. It's not sitting unrunnable. Technically, I could drive it right now if I dropped from the ground. I just, wouldn't be able to drive it far without, I guess, the car overheating, and the brakes need to be bled. So, yeah. I'm going to be holding off on that first drive for a little bit longer. Alrighty guys, that's going to be it for this week's video. I hope you have enjoyed what progress we have been able to make. Obviously slapping the turbo on there and giving it a rev was nice. Sounds pretty good without the exhaust, but it definitely won't be going for the first try without an exhaust, and neighbours here would kill us. So, yeah. Anyway, in next week's video we've got something pretty cool. Dan and I were going down the coast and bringing something back pretty special, so get keen for that one. Anyway guys, I'll leave it there. I'll catch you in next week's video. Bye!